talking about basics of interpretation. See, today I'm not going to go into very much detail about um, radar aspects, but I will tell you how to actually look at a radiograph, how to go about looking at a radiograph. So first of all is at least two views are needed for a correct diagnosis. Everybody is a practitioner here, and everybody knows that whenever a dog comes to you or a cat comes to you, you need to take a radiograph. And you take a radiograph, you usually order one radiograph, maybe a lateral view or a ventrodorsal or a dorsoventral view or a craniocaudal view or a dorsopalmar plantar view. But a single view is never sufficient. Why it is not sufficient? Because the body, human body or a animal's body is a 3D object, and you are taking a 2D image of that object. So if you try to see a 2D image of a 3D object, you will not be able to see the image nicely unless you take two views which are at 90 degree to each other. So my suggestion is whenever you want to take a radiograph, get two views at 90 degree to each other. That is orthogonal views. We also call it orthogonal views. Second is radiograph should be taken with correct positioning of the animal. That means suppose you want to take the radiograph of your wrist or wrist of a dog or maybe stifle of a dog, then that part or area of interest should be in the center of the cassette. It should not lie at one of corner of the cassette. So that is very important, that correct positioning of the animal is important. Suppose you want to take a radiograph of chest. If you are not seeing the whole lung, that means you are not seeing the whole chest and you are missing lesions. So it is very important that correct positioning of the animal, correct collimation, and correct radiograph is available for interpretation. Third is a lot depends on your imagination. How you imagine, how you construct a 3D picture out of that 2D image. That is very important. And fourth is never be ashamed of referring to books. I, after 20 years or 25 years of my experience, still go back and see books if I am in doubt. So never be ashamed. You should have some X-ray or radiology books in hand. Nowadays, internet is there. You can open the internet and see the anatomy. Because wrong interpretation, your practice is at stake. People will say that this person does not know anything. So always try to give a correct interpretation. And if you don't know how to give an interpretation, you can consult some other person also. So with that background, I'll start how to view a radiograph. See, correct orientation of a radiograph is very much essential. You can't look at a radiograph in a wrong manner. Let us see this picture. If you see this picture, this is a beautiful scenery, but it is upside down. And you will not be able to see the finer details of this picture unless it is straight. Now you see, now you can see the finer details of the picture. You can see a boat, a stick here. There are two houses, the windows, the doors of the houses. These are only seen because the picture is in correct orientation. If the picture is like this, you will not be able to see or understand the image properly. Same thing is with the radiograph. So orientation of radiograph is very much important. You can't ignore this. And this is the first step in reading a radiograph. So let us see these two pictures. Now, you see these two pictures, the left one and the right one. The right one is the wrong orientation of an X-ray image. Whenever you get a lateral radiograph of, let us say, chest or skull or abdomen or pelvis, the head of the animal should be on your left, the tail of the animal should be on your right, the vertebral column should be on the top, the sternum should be on the bottom. This is a standard, internationally accepted way of reading a radiograph. You can't view radiograph like this. This is a wrong way of reading a radiograph. If you read a radiograph like this, you are mistaken. You will be bound to make mistakes. So make it a habit of reading radiograph again and again in this. I'll give you another example. This is a wrong way. You have to you just flip the X-ray like this. Evaluate the lateral radiograph of neck and chest. The head should be on your left. The tail or the abdomen should be on your right. On the top, and the sternum on the bottom. If you read the radiograph every time in this way, you are not going to make mistakes. You see this radiograph. This is a radiograph of chest. I can see the trachea here, I can see the heart here, I can see the diaphragm here, I can see the caudal vena cava, the aorta, everything I can see, but the orientation is wrong. So you have to make the orientation correct. This is the correct orientation. If this orientation is there, you are reading the radiograph in a correct way. So always remember, whenever you read a lateral radiograph of skull, neck, chest, abdomen, the head of the animal should be on the left, the tail of the animal should be on the right, the vertebral column on the dorsal, and the sternibrae on the ventral aspect. Now, similarly with the abdomen, for the abdomen also, the cranial should be on the left and the caudal should be on the right. And vertebral column, these are the lumbosacral spine, should be on the top, and the ventral abdominal wall should be on the bottom. So if I 4 pictures, out of these 4 pictures, this is the correct orientation and all these other 3 are the wrong. You can't keep the radiograph like this. And when you start reading radiographs in this fashion, every time you see the radiograph, you are more and more, or your brain is trained to see the radiograph this way, and you are more and more confident in reading the radiograph. For a VD or a DV radiograph, remember that this is a radiograph of a chest. Your right is patient's left. So whether it's a DV, your right should be the patient's left. So this is the patient's left, this is the patient's right. So your left is patient's right, your right is patient's left. This is how you should interpret a radiograph. If you keep it reversed, you are making a blunder. This is a wrong way of interpreting a radiograph. This is the right side, this should go to your left. So remember that you have to flip the radiograph while reading. When you put the radiograph on the screen, the radiograph should be put such that the right side faces your left. The head of the animal is topmost, the tail of the animal is bottommost. This is for VD and DV views. This is true for abdomen, this is true for chest, this is true for skull, this is true for neck. All these radiographs have to be put in this orientation. Now, it is up to you. You have to practice this. A lot of practice is required to keep this orientation every time in this way. At the end of the presentation, I will give you an assignment. Go back, practice this, and next time we will discuss about this. Now, this is a VD radiograph of a pelvis. Now, again, the same story. The right should be on your left. The left should be on your right. The pelvis, these are the femurs, this is the pelvis, the ring of ilium, ischium, pubis, all these can be seen properly. But if your orientation is wrong, then you may make the mistake of interpreting the wrong hip joint. So always view the radiograph in the correct orientation. For skull, for example, this is a skull. Again, the right of the skull should be on your left. The left of the skull should be on your right. Only then you can know that this is the nasal septum and these are the nasal passages, and you can know the problem, in which nasal passage the problem lies. So always orient the radiograph. Even if you want to send the radiograph to somebody else, the other person who is seeing the radiograph will also understand that this is my right side. That means this side is the right side of the animal, this side is the left side of the animal. This is a standard, internationally accepted way of seeing the radiograph. Now, for the scaphoid joint or the hock joint, the patella should face towards the left. The fibula should face towards the right. That means the head of the animal should be on your left. The tail of the animal should be on your right. You can't see the femur like this. This is wrong way of seeing the stifle joint, femur, tibia, hock joint. This is the wrong way. So always remember, when you are seeing the radiographs of limb, the head of the animal should be on your left, the tail of the animal should be on your right, the body of the animal should be topmost, the periphery of the limb should be on the bottom. You can't just rotate upside down also. That is also a wrong way of interpreting. Every time if you see the radiograph in this way, you will start seeing things which you were not seeing earlier. This is a radiograph of elbow joint. Again, the elbow, the head of the animal is here, the tail of animal is this side, the body of the animal is on the top, the periphery is on the bottom. This is the olecranon process. Olecranon process should be always on your right of the radiograph. This is a wrong way of seeing the radiograph of elbow joint. If you see the radiograph of elbow joint always in this fashion, you will start diagnosing elbow dysplasia. You will start diagnosing anconial, ununited anconial processes. You will start diagnosing the humeral condyle fractures and minor subtle lesions, OCDs of humerus. But if you one day you see like this, the other day you see like this, you are bound to make mistakes. Always remember that you have to follow a particular pattern to see the radiograph. Next is radiographic opacities. You have to understand that there are 5 radiographic opacities. First is the gas opacity that looks black on a radiograph. I will show you the radiograph in coming slide. Gas looks black. Just see the this palette. It is black. The gas looks black. The fat looks grayish black. It is towards the grayer side, but it has some blackness in it. Fluid and soft tissue both have same opacity. So a bladder, a liver will have almost same opacity because urinary bladder is filled with fluid or urine, and liver is soft tissue. Both will have the same opacity, that is grayish white opacity. Mineral or bone opacity is white, that is still brighter than soft tissue opacity, and the metal opacity or the contrast agent which you give to the animal is having a bright white opacity. You have to understand these five opacities. See, if you show a radiograph to a layman, let us say to your parent or your brother, sister who is not a vet or not a medico, he can say that this is bone, this is air. But this fat and fluid is what makes you different from others. If you understand or start seeing these two opacities, you are definitely above others. So you have to understand how to see a fat opacity and a fluid opacity. So I will tell you how to see these opacities. So this is a radiograph. This is a radiograph of abdomen. And if you see here, I will one by one show you all the five opacities. Black areas, these black areas here, these are gas in the intestinal loop. All these black areas are gas in the intestine. This black area here, you see, this is black area in the lung. Black is gas. So anything black you see on the radiograph is gas. Then comes the fat. This you see this gray area, blackish gray or grayish black. This area is fat. Now from here to here, that is fat. Now if you understand how to see fat, you can see more or you can diagnose most of the conditions of abdomen. We'll discuss this in abdominal radiography when I am discussing abdominal radiography with you. But you should understand that this is fat and this thing, you see this thing, that is liver, that is soft tissue. This is liver. So soft tissue is brighter than fat. You see this thing, that is the urinary bladder. It is again fluid. It is having a soft tissue opacity. It is brighter than fat. Now this fat differentiates the different structures of the abdomen. I can see the kidneys. These are kidneys. This is the urinary bladder. This is the liver. These are the intestinal loops. Why I can see all these structures? Because there is fat in between. There is fat here. There is fat here. Fat here. There is fat here. Here in this area, this triangle is fat. This is fat. All this fat will help me to see the various structures of the abdomen. If fat is not there, then I am not able to see the different structures of the abdomen. So always understand or try to find out fat in a radiograph. Fat and soft tissue. Differentiate these two things. See, bone. This is mineral opacity. Bone. Anybody can tell this is bone. This is bone. Anybody can tell. Even your brother, sister, or maybe a layman. Anybody can tell this is bone. But this fat and soft tissue is what makes you different from others. So with this, let us see this radiograph. All these black areas are gas. These black areas are gas. I can't see fat here. Instead of fat, I am seeing all the area as fluid opacity or soft tissue opacity. This is a case of peritonitis or ascites. There is fluid in the abdomen. I can't see fat anymore. If I am not able to see fat, I am not able to differentiate the organs. If I am not able to see the liver, I am not able to see the kidney, I am not able to see the intestine properly, I am not able to see the stomach properly, I am not able to see the urinary bladder. I know that there is something going on. There is some fluid in the abdomen which is covering the fat, or which is not allowing me to see the organ. And this opacity you see, this is bright white. This is metal opacity. This is metal opacity. So metal is brighter than, this is bone or mineral opacity. These are ribs. These are again mineral opacity. This is metal opacity. All this opacity you see here is fluid opacity. And this is soft tissue opacity. And this area you see this on the neck, that is the fat opacity. And this black area you see here, that is gas opacity. This is trachea. Trachea is filled with gas. That is how you make an idea about the various structures. Here, this is a barium or a contrast agent given to the animal. You can see that there is barium, that is metallic opacity. This is fat opacity here at the bottom. This is soft tissue opacity. This is soft tissue opacity. This is bone opacity or mineral opacity here. and this black area you see here and here, this is all gas opacity. So now you have to understand, or you have to practice this, seeing the soft tissue and fat opacities in the radiograph. Gas and bone and metal are very easy to see. Fat and soft tissue is the trick. So you have to practice that again and again and again and again in your radiograph. Only then you will start understanding the radiograph. Now this is a beautiful radiograph of cat. I have taken this radiograph from the internet because this is one of the best radiographs I have seen. Now this is fat. You can see the fat. Beautiful. This is all fat here. This is fat. This is fat. This is fat here. This is the kidney. This is the other kidney. Both kidneys are superimposed on each other. So there is a brighter area in the kidney. This is soft tissue, urinary bladder. This is soft tissue, that is liver. This is soft tissue, that is pylorus. This is gas, that is stomach. This is colon. These are the small intestine. This is lungs filled with gas. These are mineral opacities here. You can see the vertebral column here. These are ribs, again mineral opacities, and this is the metallic opacity here. So I think this radiograph is a complete radiograph in the sense that you can see all the opacities in this radiograph. So if you understand how to see these opacities, you can start getting a picture of different things. For example, this is a radiograph. Now here you see abnormal mineral opacities in this region. You can see these mineral opacities. All these mineral opacities are calculi. These are stones in the urinary bladder. There are some fine mineral opacities here in this region. I know that this region belongs to the kidney. So I am expecting that there are multiple calculi in the kidney also. So you have to understand to see the mineral opacities in abnormal positions also. Then these are the metallic, bone opacities, and there is fat here. This is small intestine here. There is gas in some loops of the intestine. So that is how I see this radiograph, or how I make out this radiograph. Now, this is one of the most challenging radiographs in veterinary practice, that is seeing the stifle. Now, dog. And here, again, this fat plays a very important role in diagnosis. So if you see these two black parallel lines here, this whole black area, that is fat. This is called as the infrapatellar fat. This infrapatellar fat should be present in a healthy dog. This is infrapatellar fat, and this, you see this faint white opacity, less than the bone opacity, that is soft tissue or fluid opacity, that is the synovial space here. This is the synovial space here, that is the joint. This synovial space should be tight and very small, insignificant in a normal joint. Once there is cruciate rupture, or there is some trauma to the stifle joint, or there is arthritis, or synovial effusion, or there is some fluid in the stifle joint, then what will happen is this area will enlarge and push the fat cranially. So the fat will become small and the whole area will be covered with soft tissue opacity. Then you will start seeing soft tissue opacity here, and you know that there is some problem with the stifle joint. Most commonly is the cruciate rupture. I'll show you some radiographs of cruciate rupture as we go along. This opacity, all these opacities are soft tissue opacities. This is a mineral opacity. This is a mineral or bone opacity. This is the patella. These two are the fibula. This is the os penis. This is a male dog, and this is the os penis. Now, coming to the scale of contrast. The longer the scale of contrast, the better it is. What is scale of contrast? When you see a radiograph, I get a lot of radiographs from field vet. Almost every day I get 8 to 10 radiographs to interpret. And I get these radiographs, and usually what happens, the doctors, they try to overprocess the radiograph. They try to make the radiograph look beautiful. That means I can see the bone very clearly, but they ignore the contrast. So what happens is, when you have a black and white, only two opacities, that is a low contrast. You should have a radiograph which should have a long scale. That means you should be able to see black, grayish black, then still brighter, 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 and go on becoming brighter till it becomes white. If you have a long scale of contrast, that radiograph is excellent for interpretation. But what happens usually is in our uh, uh, interest, or we try to make the radiograph beautiful. Beautiful means looks pretty, but it is not, uh, it is not useful for interpretation. That radiograph is not good, for diagnosis. You should be able to identify the fat and soft tissue. If you are not able to identify fat and soft tissue, your radiograph is not diagnostic. I'll give you some examples here. For example, the upper one and the lower one, both are the radiograph from the same animal. Here, the contrast has been enhanced. That means this is a short scale of contrast. Now, I have stopped seeing the fat here. See the icons here? But here the fat is missing. If I'm not able to see the fat, I will make a mistake in diagnosis. I'm not able to see the ventral border also of the abdomen. It is so badly processed. Bone looks bright, bone looks beautiful, but I am not able to identify all these subtle changes in the abdomen. So for that, your radiograph should be having all the, or try to keep all the four opacities on the radiograph, 4 or 5. Metal may not be there, but 4 opacities minimum should be on the radiograph. So on all radiographs, 4 opacities should be visible. If it is not visible, that means you are mistaken or you are doing some mistake in processing of your radiograph. So this is a radiograph of chest. I have shown you this radiograph earlier, but if you process it like this, then what happens is your clarity is lost. This area is not clear anymore. This area lung is not clear anymore. So I am not able to see the lungs properly. But this radiograph here, I can see the gas opacity here, and I can see the soft tissue opacity here, and metal of course is outside. So all these opacity I can see if only the radiograph is processed properly. So processing is another important. We usually, for example, this radiograph. This is a beautiful radiograph. I can see the bone, I can see the joints, I can see the all the joints. I can see the, in fractures or in arthritis, the soft tissue gives you a lot of, idea about uh, the the trauma or the injury. Whenever there is a fracture, if you have unfortunately met with an accident, you know that whenever your limb swells up, there is edema and there is swelling of the limb or swelling of the hand, whatever is fractured. And when there is swelling of the hand or the limb, what happens is uh, uh, it's painful also, and that swelling is visible on the radiograph like this. But if you process the radiograph so much that your soft tissue is missing, so you are missing the diagnosis part. You're missing how much swelling is there. What I do, I prefer to report swelling. So always your radiograph should be such that you should be able to see the soft tissue. Then only you will report the swelling. Otherwise, if you're not able to see the soft tissue, you will not be able to report the swelling. So always soft tissues should be seen so that you can report the soft tissue swelling on the. Now, I also get many radiographs from doctors and owners which are blue in color or maybe green in color, sometimes red in color, maroon in color. I get so many interesting radiographs, but always interpret radiograph in grayscale. Never interpret radiograph in different. If you get such a radiograph, just change the shade, change the saturation, make it gray like this. A gray radiograph is easy to interpret. A blue, red, green, orange, whatever color is difficult to interpret. You are definitely going to make mistakes. So always interpret only in grayscale because your mind is trained to see gray radiograph. Don't interpret in different other shades. So if you see the gray radiograph, you'll start interpreting properly. Even if you get a colored radiograph, you can just change the color saturation to grayscale and then interpret it. I get a lot of radiographs which are colored and I interpret it after making it gray. That becomes easy to interpret and more accurate interpretation I can give. Then coming to viewing the radiograph, I already told you your viewing of radiograph on the screen should be such that the head of the animal should be on your left, the tail should be on your right, the vertebral column on the top, the sternum on the bottom. For a VD radiograph, your right is patient's left, your left is patient's right. For a stifle or a elbow joint, the head should be on the left, the tail should be on the right, the body of the animal on the top, the limbs or the periphery should be on the bottom. If you follow this rule again and again, every time, then you will start making correct diagnosis, seeing things which you are not seeing earlier. Second is when you view radiographs of thorax and abdomen, never go close like that to see the radiograph. Always see radiograph from a distance, feet distance or 3 feet distance. Because if you go close, you are bound to miss lesions. Always see the thoracic and abdominal radiograph from 2 to 3 feet distance. But if you are interpreting bone or joint or lesions of bone, you can use a magnifying glass or magnifying tool on your computer screen, or you can just zoom the radiograph to see the lesion. So always remember, bones and joints view closely, the outlines, the thorax and abdomen are to be viewed from far away. From Never view thorax and abdomen from close quarters. You are bound to make mistakes. You are bound to miss things when you zoom it, or because nowadays all the radiographs are computerized, so we tend to zoom the pictures and try to see after zooming. Now, another important thing is we usually don't bother to see the patient's history. Sometimes we have got a lot of work in our clinics. Patient is somebody else, or some other patient is there. I am seeing radiograph of some other patient. So mixing of patients is there. So always make sure that you are seeing the radiograph of the patient, the correct patient. And second, you should know the history of the patient and the clinical signs of the patient. Let us say the dog is showing blood in urine. You should know that the dog is showing hematuria. I should look out for more carefully for kidneys, urethra, ureter, and urinary bladder. I should not ignore these system or this system. That does not mean that I will only see this system. I will see the whole radiograph, but I will give more emphasis on what the history or clinical signs show. Then find out the abnormality. Let us say that you find that there are some mineral opacities in the kidney. So you have to know what exactly is the abnormality and where exactly is the abnormality present. For that, anatomy is very important. If you know the anatomy, you should be able to tell the condition. If you don't know the anatomy, you may miss the things. So always, if you don't know the bone, let us say you are seeing a radiograph of forelimb, and you don't know how to count the digits. So counting should always start from medial, that is buccal, then first digit, second digit, third digit, and fourth digit. So this is first, second, third, fourth, and fifth digit. So always counting should start from medial. So anatomy, knowledge of anatomy is very important. These are digits, these are phalanges. So this is how you, forelimb we have metacarpals, hind limb we have metatarsals. Anatomy is very important. If you don't know the anatomy, for forelimb if you are writing metatarsal, you're mistaken, or your diagnosis is wrong. So anatomy is a very critical thing. If you are doubtful, go back, see some anatomy book, no problem, nobody minds. Or you have internet on your computer, mobile in your hand. You can just open and see the anatomy of forelimb, or maybe abdomen or thorax or whatever. Then once you have seen the lesion, then you have to describe the radiographic finding. For example, you have to tell you are not able to see the fat in the abdomen. You are able to see only the fluid opacity. So you have to write that. You have to see the fluid, or you are seeing only the fluid opacity in the abdomen. What does that indicate? If the fluid opacity is there in an abdomen, you are not able to see the various organs of the abdomen, you suspect that this is ascites, or maybe peritonitis, or maybe hemoperitoneum, whatever it is. Then you have to give your impression including list of prioritized differentials. When I say prioritized differentials means, let us say that a dog comes to you after meeting with an accident. Okay. When I take a abdomen, I see that there is fluid opacity in the abdomen. I am not able to see the fat. I am only seeing fluid in the abdomen. Now, my first differential on priority will be there is blood in the abdomen because there is trauma, possible rupture of spleen, or maybe possible rupture of aorta or caudal vena cava, or maybe some rupture of some other abdominal vessel, and this is blood. But if the dog is not having any such history, my first differential will come ascites. Although I will write ascites oblique, peritonitis oblique, hematuria, hemoperitoneum. Suppose I get a dog with fever and I do a blood test, I get a high TLC, and I take a radiograph of abdomen and I see that there is fluid. My first differential will come peritonitis. Then second, ascites. Third will be hemoperitoneum. This will prioritize our differential. You can't just go and just what that fluid is based on the clinical science and history. That is how you go about interpreting radiograph. We'll discuss more as we go into the abdominal radiography or thoracic radiography. But because this is basic, the lecture on basics or discussion on basics tell you the basics. Now, once you have seen the radiograph, you have to describe the size of like a lesion in the liver. You have to tell that liver is okay, normal in size, smaller in size in case of microhepatia, enlarged beyond the costal arc in case of hepatomegaly. Spleen is enlarged or small in case of splenomegaly. Then shape, whether the liver is rounded or the margins are pointed. This is just an example. Then margination, whether you can see the margin of a particular organ or not, or the margins are lost, or the margins are irregular, or margins are rounded. Then number, for example, you see calculi, how many calculi are there? You see stones in the GIT, how many stones are there in the GIT? So that is number. Then whether the stomach is in normal position or whether there is a volvulus, the pylorus has gone up, the fundus has come down, or whether some organ has displaced from its normal position, whether there is a diaphragmatic hernia, liver may displace into the thoracic cavity, stomach may displace into the thoracic cavity in case of diaphragmatic hernia. Then alteration in opacity, whether you are able to see the fat or not, whether fat opacity is visible or not. Instead of fluid, then opacity is altered. Let us say you are seeing kidney, and in kidney you are seeing mineral opacity, then opacity is altered. So alteration in opacity has to be described. So all these things have to be described on your radiographic finding, and then you have to finally give your differential diagnosis and finally your impression that most likely this is a case of, let us say, urolithiasis or cystolysis or nephrolith or uretrolith or urethrolyth. So that is how you give your diagnosis. You can't just write in one line your diagnosis. So always write in a critical manner every time you report. Now, another mistake we commonly do is we usually, when we see a gross lesion or very prominent lesion, we forget other parts of the radiograph. This is a very common tunnel vision. We have got a tunnel vision. We usually what we tend is, let us say this radiograph. The first thing which comes to my mind is there are nephroliths, multiple nephroliths. There are maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nephroliths. There are about 6 nephroliths here. And I just report that there are nephroliths and I forget about other parts of the radiograph. This radiograph I have taken from an website, internet. Now this is a beautiful radiograph. Here, if you see, there are, apart from nephroliths, I can also see that there is pleural effusions here. I can see that there is some soft tissue opacity here, abnormal soft tissue opacity. This could be a pleural effusion. This could be a soft tissue mass here. So I can't say what it is, but yes, there is soft tissue opacity. I have to evaluate this part of the radiograph also. What generally we do is, We see the stones and we say that the only stones are there. I don't damn bother to see other things. And that is a blunder we do. So we will always see the whole radiograph. You can use your own practice. You can start from left to right or right to left or top to bottom, bottom to top, center to outside, outside to center, or you can go system wise. I will see the thorax, I will see the abdomen, I will see the lungs, then heart, then body wall, then GIT, liver, kidneys, urinary system, whatever pattern you follow, whatever pattern, but you have to follow that pattern every time. Make a pattern, write it on your board or paste it on your computer desktop screen, and you follow that path, or put it under your glass. I'll evaluate all these structures. If you evaluate all these structures, you are not going to make any mistake. If you start missing things or missing structures, you have not seen that structure, how can you diagnose things in that? So always try to evaluate radiograph in a deliberate manner. Now coming to few examples. Now this is a beautiful radiograph. Uh, if you can, most of you can tell that this is an ascites. My point of telling you is I am not able to see the fat here. So because the fat is replaced with fluid, I can't see any organ. So I will call this as loss of serosal detail. So when I interpret radiographs of abdomen, I will discuss this more clearly or more elaborately in a radiography of abdomen. That when I see this radiograph, the first comment I should make is the serosal detail is good or serosal detail is poor. Now, when I say serosal detail is good, that means I am able to see all the abdominal organs properly. If I am able to see the liver, I am able to see the fundus, pylorus, spleen, intestine, kidneys, urinary bladder, colon. Serosal detail is good. If I am not able to see these structures, serosal detail is poor. And when serosal detail is poor in an adult animal, this tells you that there is fluid in the abdomen. So this is fluid in the abdomen because serosal detail is poor. That is how you start diagnosing things. Now this is a beautiful radiograph again. Now there is fat here in the bottom. There are mineral opacities or metal opacities in the GIT. And if you see the serosal detail here is poor. I can't see the organs. I can't outline the bladder. I don't think anybody can outline the bladder. I can see some few loops of intestine. I can't see the kidney. I can't outline the kidney. I can't outline the stomach also. Even I can't outline the intestine. Foreign bodies, stones, these are stones actually, we operated it. And these foreign bodies are causing trauma to the intestine, which is led to the peritonitis or fluid effusion or peritoneal effusion. So my first priority differential is there are two foreign bodies which are having a mineral or metallic opacity, along with there is peritonitis or peritoneal fluid. So this is how I go about diagnosis. Now this is a radiograph. Now you just see the fat is okay. I can see the margin of the liver. I can see the fundus. I can see the pylorus here. These are the small intestine here. This is the urinary bladder here. These are the mineral opacities or the vertebral column, bone. These are the ribs. And you just see that there is some lesion here in the vertebral column. So you have to describe this lesion, that there is some sclerosis of the end plate and there is some lysis here in the end plate. There is lysis here. This I can only see or I can only diagnose if I am seeing all the structures properly. If I am not seeing all the structures on the radiograph, I will miss this lesion. So you have to practice and practice to see all the structures on the radiograph. This is a fatty animal. I can see the fat on the top also. You can just see the fat. This is fat. And this is soft tissue or muscle. So practice seeing the fat. Now this, just see, there is free air in the abdomen, pneumoperitoneum. This is pneumoperitoneum, air in the abdomen. I can't see the fat. The fat is replaced with air. So I can see the air here. This is the liver margin. I can see the stomach. I can see the intestinal loop. I can see the colon. This is the urinary bladder. These are the kidneys. This is one kidney. This is the second kidney. This is the left kidney. This is the right. That is why knowledge of anatomy is very important. All these black areas are air. This is black air. So this is the pneumoperitoneum. This is how you diagnose a case of pneumoperitoneum. Now this is a cruciate rupture on the right side. Just see, this is the infrapatellar fat or infrapatellar fat pad. Infra means below, patella means patella, that is patella, and this is fat. This is infrapatellar fat. This should be like this big. And this area belongs to the joint, stifle joint or synovial joint. Here, due to the rupture of cruciate, there are effusions in the stifle joint. Effusions are fluid, so this area is occupied with fluid opacity, and the infrapatellar fat pad has displaced cranially. This is how you diagnose any case of arthritis, any case of cruciate rupture, synovial effusions, or there is fluid in the joint space. This is the joint space which is having fluid. So that is how you diagnose the fluid in the joint space. Now that is, I think, all I want to say today. This is just the basics. Now what I want you people to do is, see, you will have a lot of radiographs on your mobile phones, on your computers, in your laptops, or maybe desktops in your offices. Go back, try to orient as many radiographs as possible in the correct manner. Now, some of you may be doing in the correct manner, I am sure. But those who are not doing, go back, orient the radiograph in the correct manner, and again read the radiograph. You will start seeing things which you were not seeing earlier. Second is, you may take it as an assignment, you may take it whatever way you want. Try to differentiate fat and fluid or soft tissue opacity on at least 100 radiographs. If you can do more, it is fantastic. Practice it. Just pull out a radiograph from the internet and see, this is fat. Don't diagnose, don't do anything. Just see the opacity. This is fat, this is soft tissue. This is fluid, this is soft tissue, this is fat. This is metal, this is mineral opacity. Just see the opacity. Just see the opacity. Just see the. This is the practice. It will take half a minute for each radiograph. But just see the practice seeing the opacity. Once you start seeing the opacities, you will definitely understand, or you will train your mind to see the opacities. If you do this, you will be more. It will be easy for you to understand my next two lectures. If you are not able to practice this, it will be difficult for you to pick up the things which I want to tell you in the next class. So please practice this. Take it in assignment. We have got 15 days with us. So 100 radiographs you can do in one day, I'm sure. It's just a half a minute job on your internet, on your mobile. Just practice this and you can definitely. So thank you very much. So this presentation is dedicated to my guide, respected Dr. Gajraj Singh. Excellent radio. He has inculcated in me the techniques and idea of how to look at radiographs. Thank you very much for the chance to give this presentation. Thank you.
Hatfield Pharma Private Limited is a pharmaceutical company with its head office at Meerut. It was founded on 29 January 2019 with a vision to provide affordable and quality veterinary medicine to our pet parents. Hatfield Pharma is doing marketing of veterinary pharmaceuticals throughout India. In a small span of 1 year, we have launched 51 products in the veterinary pharma industry to serve our clients. In future 1 year, we are planning to have a product basket of more than 100 products. Hatfield is different from other veterinary pharma companies as we don't have distribution channel. We understand the latest needs of market, and for this reason we have adapted to online module of selling our drugs to field practitioners. We are serving our clients by providing the required medicines at their doorstep, without any middleman. We directly collect orders online, mobile app, WhatsApp, telephonic from our end customers, and we deliver the required products to their doorstep through our nationwide logistic partners Blue Dart, DTDC, TCI Express. We are happy to announce that in our client list, most of the leading pet practitioners of India are included. To assure the unbreakable faith of our clients in our company products, we look after the quality of products, starting from selecting the raw material for our final products, aseptic precautions during manufacturing, and proper storage of finished products till supply to the end customers to ensure quality of products. We are happy to share that Hatfit Pharma has been recognized at various business platforms. Recently, an article on Hatfit Pharma has been published in the leading business magazine Business Connect. One more milestone in the success story for Hatfit Pharma is that the managing director of the company, Dr. Rajneesh Tyagi, has been awarded Young Asian Entrepreneurs Award at Bangkok, Thailand on 7 February 2020. Our vision states Hatfit Pharma to be a commercially viable leading veterinary pharmaceutical company in providing quality products affordable to various sections of the pet owner society. Our endeavor is to be a front runner in innovation and quality in the veterinary pharma industry. We see a very bright future for our company as we are working in pet industry, which itself is growing at a higher rate, approximate growth of 20% annually. We are regularly working on the knowing of needs of our customers to serve them in a better way. We value your support to Hatfit Pharma and are very thankful to all of you. We look forward for a very strong and long business association between veterinarians and Hatfit Pharma. Thank you.